His ability to withstand punishment. The Undertaker can take more than any mortal man can dish out.
The arena was heavy with grief as Triple H stepped into the spotlight, his voice trembling with a mix of sorrow and disbelief. Tears welled up in his eyes as he shared the devastating news every fan hoped they'd never hear. Rey Mysterio had passed away, following a massive heart attack. This wasn't just a loss for WWE. It was a loss for the entire wrestling family and millions of fans worldwide who saw Rey as more than a superstar. He was a fighter, a father, a friend, and a symbol of resilience. The pain in that moment was palpable, raw, and unforgettable. The silence before the storm. The arena was unlike any WWE crowd had ever experienced before. Utterly silent. Too silent for the usually loud and boisterous environment. You could almost feel the weight of every single heartbeat pounding through the air. A collective pulse of anticipation and dread. Fans sat frozen, the usual roar replaced by a heavy stillness that spread like wildfire across the stands. And then, as if breaking the spell, Triple H appeared. But this wasn't the Triple H fans were used to seeing, the one with the confident swagger, the trademark smirk, or the booming voice commanding attention. No, this was a man stripped of his usual bravado, his posture heavy and his eyes hollow, weighed down by an unseen burden. From the moment he stepped out, it was clear. Something was terribly, painfully wrong. The crushing announcement. When the words finally came, they broke like a wave through the crowd. Rey Mysterio suffered a heart attack. The reaction was immediate and visceral. A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Some fans, especially those near the front, cried out in shock. Others sat stunned, faces frozen in disbelief. But it wasn't just the words. They were heavy enough. But the way Triple H said them, his voice cracking with raw emotion that made the moment unbearable. This was no scripted storyline or carefully crafted promo. This was Paul Levesque, a man known for his toughness and professionalism, reduced to a trembling, broken figure by the news of a brother in the business fighting for his life. The weight of the situation was undeniable. Triple H's hand shook as he gripped the mic, his usual steel replaced by vulnerability. A brother's pain. What cut deepest was what Triple H revealed next. His eyes glistened with tears as he shared a personal memory. I was there when they took him in. I saw the fear in his family's eyes, and I will never forget it. Rey's more than just a WWE superstar. He's a husband, a father, my friend. Those words resonated across the arena. Rey Mysterio, the legendary luchador who had inspired generations with his high-flying style and unbreakable spirit, was no longer just a hero in the ring. He was a man in the fight of his life. The crowd's collective heartbreak was palpable. The man behind the mask, the superhero to millions, was vulnerable and fragile. The fury beneath the sadness. Then the tone shifted. The sadness was still there, but beneath it simmered something darker. Anger. Do you know what makes me sick? Triple H's voice sharpened, cutting through the silence like a blade. Rey wasn't supposed to be in that ring that night. He told me he wasn't feeling well. He told the officials. And yet, someone pushed him out there anyway. The crowd erupted with shock and outrage. Questions flew. Who? Why? How could this happen? Triple H shook his head, struggling to maintain his composure. I'm not going to point fingers yet, but I will find out who decided Rey Mysterio's health wasn't as important as the show. He paused, jaw tightening, voice low and deadly serious. When I do, there will be consequences. The arena was split. Some fans were in tears, others furious. The thought that someone inside WWE might have ignored a clear warning sign just to keep a match on the card was unbearable. The crowd shouted Rey's name, the passion and pain in the room reaching a fever pitch. The unseen footage. Before Triple H could say more, the giant Tron screen flickered to life. Grainy, black-and-white security footage played, showing the backstage hallway the night of the heart attack. There was Rey, sitting in a chair, visibly struggling to catch his breath, sweat beading on his forehead. A shadowy figure approached him, placing a hand firmly on his shoulder. Rey shook his head, refusing whatever was being offered. The figure pointed towards the curtain, then aggressively toward the entrance to the arena. Rey shook his head again, pleading silently to be left alone. The crowd exploded, the rawness of the footage igniting a storm of emotions. Triple H's lips curled into a furious snarl as he turned to the screen. Find them now. The locker room's quiet storm. The usually loud and bustling locker room had fallen into an eerie silence. The crackling energy was replaced by the low hum of whispered conversations and the soft shuffle of nervous footsteps. Word had spread like wildfire, and every superstar, from rookies stepping onto the stage for the first time to veterans with decades of experience, stood together, processing the grim reality. But one was missing. Dominic Mysterio, Rey's son, was nowhere to be seen with the crowd. Cameras caught him alone, pacing in a secluded hallway, hands buried deep in his hoodie pockets, face pale and eyes red, not from sadness, but from a storm of complicated emotions. Their relationship had been strained, complicated by years of on-screen feuds and real-life distance. The guilt weighed heavily on Dominic's shoulders. "Is this how it ends?" he whispered, voice barely audible, trembling with fear and regret. Want daily knowledge drops? Subscribe now. Your brain will thank you later.